Hi, this is Anil and welcome to the video tutorial for the Learning Guide on C++ programming. So in this tutorial we're going to learn about how to define a method of a class outside the class definition. So let's get started. So in this tutorial, just for the demonstration purpose, let's create a class and let's call it as human, and here let's say the access specifier is going to be public, and before that let's include string header file, so it's gonna be hash include string. Alright, now I'm gonna create a variable of type string in my class, which is the property of this human class, and let's call it as name. And let's say we have a method, we're just gonna declare that method here, so it's gonna be a void method and introduce, and that's it. Let's say this function or this method is not gonna take any arguments, and also we are not defining this function right here, we're just declaring it. So we can define a method of a class outside that class definition by using a scope resolution operator. So to use this scope resolution operator, we need to type colon symbol twice. By using this scope resolution operator, we can define the method of a class outside, and also make sure that you are defining all the methods of a class before creating an object of it, otherwise you'll get error. So here, to define a method of a class outside its class definition, first we need to specify the return type of that method. So here it's going to be void, and then we need to specify the class name human, then the scope resolution operator colon 2 times, and then the method name, so it's going to be introduce. And if that method takes any parameters, you need to specify that here between these parentheses, and then the function or the method body. So inside this method we're gonna write cout, and here we're gonna refer to this name property of this class human, and here we are defining this method outside this class definition. That's why if you want to access any properties of that class, then you guys need to use this scope resolution operator again. So here it's gonna be human, and then colon 2 times, and then the property name, which is name, and then I'm gonna say end line. That's it. Okay, now we have declared a method in a class, and we have defined that method of that class outside the definition of that particular class. Alright, okay, now we're gonna create an object of this human class. To do that, in my main function I'm gonna write the class name and then the object name, let's say Anil. And the next thing that we're gonna do is we're gonna assign the value for this name property, so it's gonna be Anil dot name equal to Anil, and then we're gonna call the introduce method. That's it. So now I'm gonna save this, I'm gonna build and run this. So it says Anil. So this is how you guys can define a method outside the class definition by declaring the prototype of that method in the class. And the next thing is, let's say in this class definition we have initialized any value to this any default value to this name property. Let's say in this case no name, and if I build and run this, we won't get any error. But when we define any value to the name property for our object, the no name will be overwritten. But if I remove this one and I'm gonna build and run this again, and we get no name. So here we are initializing this property name inside this class, but we can't use the scope resolution operator to initialize this property name outside this class. If this property is of static type, which we can learn in the upcoming tutorials, then only we can use the scope resolution operator to initialize that. Just to demonstrate that, I'm gonna remove this initialization, and here first I'm gonna write the data type, so it's gonna be string, and then the human scope resolution operator, and then the name. And if I try to initialize this one right here, we'll get some errors. Let's say no name, and I'm gonna build and run this. You guys can see the error, and if I open up the logs, it says std string human name is not a static member of class human. That's why we can say that we can use this scope resolution operator in classes to define the methods outside the classes, and we can only initialize the static properties of the class outside the classes using the scope resolution operator, and we can't initialize the normal variables. So that's it. Thank you for watching, and don't forget to subscribe, and I'll see you in the next tutorial.